Welcome. I am Toni Tesler, ToniStamps, that's me. And I am releasing this probably on Thursday. I think it's the 11th of August. I'm not going to go live tonight. That's my normally I go live on every Thursday. But I've got a doctor's appointment tomorrow, too much stuff. So I'm giving you this quick video as a project that builds on something that I did about 2 weeks ago. So I did a project using one 12 by 12 sheet of designer paper, and we made a little 4 by 6 mini book. So it got me thinking, like, as I was posting the video 2 weeks ago, I was like, how can I change this and get more pockets? Because this was the finished project, 4 by 6, and the deal is it has 5 pockets. So I always want to know, how can I get more pockets? And I've figured it out. So I'm going to show you how to make something with 8 pockets. And then I have already made a prototype where we will have 14 pockets. So let's turn it down to my desk. And I'm going to go through again real quick how we made the original, the 4 by 6, the one with the 5 pockets. And then we will build on that, okay? All right. So just to give you a quick refresh of, oh, I get my chair straight. This is the original that I made. Let me untie this. And I'll just show you all of our pockets. So, you know, pocket here, pocket here. Now the intention with these papers is you can either mount pictures on them, or you can do journaling on one side, pictures on the other, or just straight journaling. You know, this can be a card where everybody writes a little message to someone. Then we've got a pocket here, and I just put a folded up piece of crumb cake in here as, again, more pictures or more writing could go. So that's our third pocket, which is in the middle. Let's get this back in. And then we've got our last 2 pockets. So our 5 pocket little gem. And let me go through really quickly how we made this. So this, I'm going to grab a piece of 12 by 12. This is old. This is from Sweet Talk, from the January through June catalog. But you want a piece that doesn't really have a direction, and this fits the bill. So when we score, this is going to be the inside of our album, and we're going to score it at, I want to score it right down the center at 6. Actually, I want this to be the outside, so score on the outside at 6. Then I want to turn it and score it at 2, 6, and 10. Okay, so 4 score marks, that's it. All right, now this is going to be, whoopsie. This is going to be tricky to see, but so we've got our score marks here, and then the one here. This folds in half. We're going to fold this down. Again, this is the inside of our book. This is going to fold up. This is going to be our first set of pockets. And we're going to flip it this way, fold this up. This is going to be our last set of pockets. So we need this piece to cut right here so that we can do our flip. So we just want to cut out this score mark, all right? And I might have to find the good side that I can actually see. You can either do this part with just scissors, or if you wanted to use your cutter. I'm going to use just my scissors, and I'm trying to cut on both sides of this teeny tiny score mark, and cutting it right up to that 6-inch score line. All right, I can tell already that this is not perfectly straight, but that's okay. This is a prototype. All right, so we've got our score marks. You see how much I cut out? Like maybe a 1/16 of an inch. So let's unfold it again. All right, I've got it flipped back over to where I started. We cut this score line out, and then we're folding it in half here. All right, and let me get my bone folder. Then I'm folding this 2-inch flap up. That's our pockets. Then, since we've cut this, I can fold this over, and that's, actually, let me do it this way. fold it over. This is going to be our front cover. Okay. And then I will go ahead and fold this back in for now. I am going to come back and trim that. But then we're flipping it backwards. And same thing. Let's fold this in. This is going to be our back cover. Make sure everything lines up. And then fold it again up the pockets and in. Okay? So I can see definitely that is not a perfect cut up top, but we flip it over. Here's our front, and we've got our first set of pockets. Now, before I glue any of this down, I need to trim out this the center, because as I fold it up, it's going to wrinkle. It's too much bulk in there. So I've just got to cut the teeniest little, I'm going to cut like a very skinny V to get that score mark out of there. All right, so that's about how much I'm cutting out. All right, hopefully that's in focus. And I want to do that on the back set of pockets as well. So just cutting this V out. All right, now we're going to glue. All right, we've got our folds over here. Let me just burnish this down. Take your glue. Now I want to put glue on the very edges. So right here and right here. I made one of these, one of the first ones I made, and I did not glue this centerpiece area. And so the pocket was really loose and I didn't like it. Granted, you could put more stuff in it, but I just didn't. I thought it was too open. So I'm just gonna glue right up, and I'm putting it as close as I can to the edge. All right. And then I'm just gonna flip this. So this is gonna be our center pocket, and we're gonna put glue just here and here, but I'm gonna do this pocket first for this set, our back set. So same thing, glue as close as you can to get to the edge. Make sure everything's lined up. So pretty cool that you get this with one sheet. But like I said, I got to thinking, well, I want more pockets. What can I do? Well, my first thought was, well, I could just use 2 sheets of 12 by 12 and then glue them together. Well, if I didn't have both the sheets the same, you know, it would have been like 4 pages of one pattern and then 4 pages of another. And I didn't like that. So then I thought, well, you know what? Let's go to 6 by 12. So that's what we're going to do next. But wait, let's finish this. So now we want, here's our book. Open, pocket that needs to be glued, and then pocket. So flip this, and we're going to glue all the way down here. Again, as close to the edge as you can get it. Just on these 2 sides, because we want our pocket to be open from that side. All right, this looks pretty good. If there's some glue squeezing out, that's okay. I just want everything to be like nice and even if I can. All right, that is how easy it is. Here's our book, and we could put stuff in those pockets. Let me, something here, something here, something here. Now, if you want to put, use a hole punch, I usually do I keep a 1-inch hole punch here on my desk. So let's do a half circle. And I'm just gonna eyeball it to get it in the center. You may really want to wait until all your glue dries, but I am punching through it anyway. All right, let's get rid of that. All right, so we've got our little tuck spot, and then we could make a little insert, and then our other 2 pockets. All right, so this was the base book that I first showed. So to get what I wanted, more pockets and not necessarily 4 pages in a row that were the same, you know, using 2 12 by 12s, I thought we're gonna go to 6 by 12. And I chose just 3 because I wanted to see how that would go, and I like it. All right, so 3 pieces of 6x12. This is from the Pretty Prints Designer Series paper pack, and these are like Calypso Coral and Petal Pink, I think. So I like these patterns. You're gonna pick which ones you wanna be on your inside, and I kinda want these to be on the inside. And that, yeah, that's kind of plain. So I grouped them. This is gonna be the outside cover, or my front cover, I should say. It's gonna fold up like this. And then I want this to be my back cover. So I'm gonna score all of them the same way. 6 and then 2, all right? And then if you haven't guessed by now, all we're gonna do is glue these together. But using more sheets and making them 6x12, it just gives us more options to build and build and build, add pockets. And I like mixing up the patterns, all right? So 6, oops, big end, 6, and then come over and I want the pocket down here. So actually I'm gonna score it at 4. All right, so that gives us a 2-inch pocket at the bottom, and our finished size will still be 4x6. All right, so that's gonna be our first page. Now the second one, you really only have to think about what do you want to go on the inside, because the outsides, both flaps, are gonna be covered up by page 1 and the last page. All right, so I want this to be on the inside. So let's score this at, oh, whoops, let's do it first at 6 and then at 4. All right, and then our last page, I want this to be the back cover. So 6, I gotta go in the right order, 6 and then 4. All right. So same thing, we're gonna make all of our score marks. Make sure everything is nice and lined up. And then we're gonna cut out the center, that little V, from each piece. Okay, whoopsie. All right, so this is gonna be the very back cover. All right, so I'm actually gonna glue these all at the same time. I'm gonna do all my scoring and cutting first, and then glue, glue, glue. So now let's go back and we're gonna glue our pockets. Again, very edges. All right, so we've got our 3 6x12 pockets, and they are ready to be glued together. So this is where, let's count. We've got 2 pockets, 4 pockets, 6 pockets. So we're gonna get our other 2 pockets when we glue these together. All right, so I'm gonna glue them side, bottom, side, and butt these up like that. And then I'll do the same thing here, and that gives us 8 pockets. So I think that is very cool. All right, so right to the edge, and make sure you're paying attention, oops, and that you get the bottom, because I did mess this up on one of my prototypes, and I glued it like on the open end here. So fail, but that's what prototypes are for. All right, and just the edge. Now I take them and I put the scored edges on the bottom, like on my mat, and then just bring them up. Tap and squeeze so everything is, the sides and this edge is all lined up. Nice. Pockets. Pocket. Oops. After I pulled it apart. Okay, and then we're going to do the same thing and glue this next one on. Nice. All right, now when I come back, all that's left really is punching the holes and then doing a little bit of decorating. If you want to put ribbon on it, you're going to want to put that around before you add anything to your front cover. You know, I mean, unless you don't mind it. I like it to be hidden if I could. So when we come back, I will have some bits that we will decorate this real quick with, okay? All right, so we've got our book, and I want to do a little bit of decorating on the cover. But let's take a quick look inside. So I added a bunch in every pocket. I added, this is 3 3/4 by 5. And I used petal pink, calypso coral, pale papaya, white, same. And then in the 2 inner pockets, I did something a little different. On this one, I did, it was 5, yep, by 3 1/4, so 6 1/2, folded in half. Yep, 6 1/2, and then fold that in half that way. I want to say landscape, and that'll fit in there. And then in the second pocket, I did the style that I did on my first one, which is 3 1/4 by 11. Oops. Yep, 3 1/4 by 11. So this one ends up being 3 1/4 by 5 1/2, which is, you know, just a 1/2 inch longer, but I wanted to try something different. And the other one in this pocket, that was just the piece of paper that I ended up with. So, okay, so let's get these in here. Nice. All right. So the purpose of, you know, with these pieces of cardstock, you can write on them. You could add pictures. You could do a combination. They could be, you know, recipes or, you know, scrapbook, anything really. But I have my papers in here, and we can see that it is starting to bulk up a little bit. Let's look at the other one. So on the original, remember this was one piece of paper. So on the side here, there's just the one seam. So I didn't feel the need to cover this like a binding kind of thing. But on this one, since we had 3 pieces glued together, I don't necessarily like this spine hanging out, okay? So I want to cover it. So the reason, or not the reason, but the way I figure out how big of a piece I want, this is 4 inches tall. So it's got to be 4 by something. And I want it to hang out. An inch seems like it will be too much. So I'm thinking 3/4 of an inch. So let me get them a scrap paper. So 3/4 of an inch, actually times 2, because I want that on the front and back. So that's 1 1/2. Then for the actual spine. So notice how it's thicker here than up top. That's because all your pockets are down there. And that's all like a double layer of everything. So I want to measure the width of that. And that is 3/16 of an inch. Okay. So 1.5 is really 1 8/16. Oops. So we'll add 3/16, and that gives us 1 11/16 by 4. All right, that's the piece that I want for this. So I cut that, and what I'm going to do is score in 1.5 from each end, and that should leave a 3/16 bit in the middle. And actually, I want to do a little stamping on this first, because I don't want this to be like naked. So I'm using a Dragon Gardenfly and a greeting from Forever Fern. And I might add some of these to like the cards on the inside, but I will do that later. So I want Calypso Coral ink, because I want like a tone on tone here. And I'm just gonna stamp those. That's good. And what else did I have? I guess that'll do it. Maybe I can come over here, get a little bit in the corner there, and that'll be on the back side anyway. Okay. And then I will clean this before I stamp my dragonflies. So let's get my scoring board. And again, I'm going to score in at, oh no, wait, not 1.5. Geez, 3/4, because I want each, the front and back of this part to be 3/4. So let's go 3/4 here, and then I will turn it upside down and go 3/4 here. All right. And then we'll hold up the, let's flip it so we can see. We came in 3/4 this way, 3/4 that way. And the inside is, yep, about 3/16. Okay, awesome. So I'm going to fold that and score it, both the score lines. Now I'm not going to attach this right now, because I do want to have a ribbon closure. Oh, that's going to look so nice. All right, so that's going to come like right here. Yeah, really nice. First, let me make sure I'm going in the right direction. Yep. Okay, so this is going to get glued on, but first I want to add ribbon. All right. So this is the petal pink ribbon that I was looking for when I made my original one. I like the width. It's 5/8 of an inch. And I want to glue this down first, and I'm just eyeballing on how much. Like, I want a nice bow on the side of it. All right, so I'm folding this in half. Now I'm going to cover up this a little bit so I can add some sticky strip, or this is tear and tape. I'm going to put that right there, just so that will help hold my ribbon in place. And of course the glue on the side is going to help. And I am going to glue it on the back. All right, so fold it in half. The rounded, the loopy part, I want on this side. Okay, so let's just stretch that, get that over there, scooch it down. That looks good. And press. And then I'm going to flip it over, and I'm just going to use glue for right now, like my art glitter glue. But you could totally use, this is a good job for Fabri-Tac. I just don't want to sit here and let it dry, because I want to get this finished and posted. So I'm going to use my art glitter glue, and I'm going to like smear it and smooth it out with my fingers. And I've done this before. It works just fine. And then it will dry clear. Okay, so I can let that go. And actually, let me clean off my dragonfly stamp. So pop this up. What I want to do, so I'm going to glue this right here. All right, right up. And since I've scored it, it just fits so much nicer and more, it's just perfect. All right, so what I like to do is glue it on the middle first, get that down, and then come in and glue each side. All right, and I am pretty generous with the glue. All right, so we're gonna slide that in, and then I'm gonna hold it and just hold it right here. So on the bottom for maybe 30 seconds, not even 30 seconds. Let's give this a try. All right. So this time, let's go all the way. I'm gonna cover it. Like, don't be shy, and I can get more down in here, down in the spine. It's not gonna hurt anything. I don't want any of these corners coming up. All right, and now I'm gonna press it, and I'm just holding it here. Complete pressure along that whole spine cover. And then we're gonna do the same thing on the back, and then we will add just a little decorative bit for the front. I'm not gonna doll up the inside any more than just the papers that I've put in so far, because frankly, I don't know exactly what I'm gonna use it for or who I'm gonna use it for yet. But whoever gets it is gonna love it. All right, now let's flip this and do the same thing on the back cover. So the pieces that I cut to decorate the front, I just got these deckled rectangles dies. You could do any die, or you could just cut any shape you wanted, like if you wanted just plain rectangle or a square, or if you had circles, like anything. I'm just playing with these because I just pulled them out of the package. Okay, so that'll be good. So I'm just gonna tie this so it stays out of the way, really. Tying it like right there on the edge. So again, this is the 8-pocket mini book. And I'm gonna leave these tails long because again, don't know who I'm giving it to, what I'm doing with it. All right, so this is my plan. I'm gonna have pale papaya and calypso coral. And then I'm gonna have like 2 dragonflies and a little greeting. All right, first let's stamp. We're gonna go with pale papaya. Again, I want a tone on tone look. And put some of these flowers. So I'm going tall, short, tall, or middle, super tall on the end. Okay. I do like the pale papaya and the calypso coral together. And then with the petal pink, good, good, good. And again, those colors came directly from this Pretty Prince designer paper. All right, so we're going here. And the greeting I picked out was to a friend that makes me smile. And this came from the Forever Fern set. Okay. So I'm going to stamp this in black just so that it shows up. And then we're going to stamp our dragonflies and punch them out. And I'm not going to make them 3D because I'm not convinced that I want them popped up. But we'll see. Okay, that's good. All right, and then we will stamp our dragonflies. And then I'm going to take the color inner part of this dragonfly stamp. Let's go. So this image right here, you would think it's only going to go with the right side of the dragonfly wings, but it seems to go okay on both, like with just turning it. So let's go back to pale papaya. I'll do one in pale papaya. So I'm going to stamp it and see how it's kind of like off the edge anyway. So stamp it that way and then flip it upside down. It still gets most of the same coverage. So it really does work out. All right, so that one in pale papaya. And then let's do this other one in petal pink. Just so we have all 3 colors. Oh, that's nice and darker than I expected. Okay. All right, I feel like that needs to be colored some, like with a marker or something. Yep. All right, what do I have here? I just reached for something dark petal pink. Okay. That's gonna do it. All right. Just because I didn't like that being completely white. All right, now let's punch these out. I love these, you know, anything that has a matching punch, I'm a fan. I like it because it's so easy and quick. I like the dies, don't get me wrong, but they require more work. All right, and I think I want some little ones. Let's see what scraps. Let's do one of all the colors, and then I'll see which one I want to keep. So we've got Pale Papaya, Calypso, Coral, and Petal Pink. Okay, we're done with that. Done with that. Actually, let me flip this over so it's not such a mess. All right, so let's glue this on. And then we'll decide if I'm gonna pop anything up. All right, again, these were the deckled rectangle. You know what, I think I'm gonna glue this down flat because again, that'll help keep this ribbon down. Excuse me. And then I will glue the little dragonflies down and pop the big ones up. All right, and then we'll finish this with some, oh, excuse me, some gems. Okay, so we'll have this guy. Oh yeah, that guy. Sorry. Actually, you know what? I am gonna put these down flat too. I don't want any of this to pop up or to, you know, like get caught on anything. All right, so let's put that down. Okay. Like that, nice and flat. And then we could add our little guys. And they can crisscross. It's not gonna kill them. So for the next one that I've already made, the 14 pocket one, just get that on. I really want to show you just the closure that I want to do with that, and that's going to involve magnets because the base of the book is the same as what I've gone through. It's just more pieces. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I definitely have to have this one. All right, he can be over here. Okay. All right, I think we are done with that, and then we'll put some gems on. I want to go to iridescent rhinestones because I love them. They go with anything. They pick up any color you want them to. Iridescent rhinestones, yep. And I like that they're pretty chunky. All right, let's get, where's my picker? So we've got 5 dragonflies. Now it's just a matter of me being picky of how many gems I want. All right, a big one, a little one, a medium, a little one, 2, 3, 4, and we'll go with another medium, like, no, like right here. Even though that's like straight over top of that one, like this whole triangle, that'll be fine. Or I'll move it a little bit. Ugh, indecisions. Nope, I'm keeping it. It's too much trouble. I don't want to pick it up and then have it not stick. Yada, yada. Okay, so pretty cool. 4 by 6. And again, 8 pockets. And room for stuff. So let's open this back up. So we've got our Pretty Prints Designer Series paper, 3 different pieces, 3 different pieces, not 3, 3 different pieces that were 6 by 12. All right, so we open it up, pocket, pocket, pocket here. Oops, this is a little, you know what, this one was 3 1/4 by 5 finished, and I should have made it 5 1/2 so that I could grab it. But that little flip up, pockets here. This thing wants to move. Our other little insert, and then more pockets, okay? And then we've got our binding, which is perfect. Okay, so we've got 2 of these now. Here was the original that we did out of 1 piece. This had the 5 pockets. 1 piece of 12 by 12, I should say. Then this was 3 pieces of 6 by 12. And now let me drag over. Now this one is just a prototype at this point. I haven't finished it. So this is a 14 pocket deal. All right, and I used some retired papers. I think they're called Well Suited. It went with like the suit and tie stuff. And I did the, you know, the spine cover. This time I had, this was like 1 1/8 inch hanging over, and that's really kind of thick. But this was a 1/4 inch spine. So let's go over our pieces. So I used 5 pieces for this. All right, so here's 1 piece, pockets. Same thing, pocket right in here from where I glued everything together. Pockets. Pocket right in the middle. More pockets. Pocket on the side. Pockets. Pocket on the side. Like, this is kind of crazy. And then our ending pockets. So, I love it. So same thing, you would want to cut pieces and, you know, put some paper in so you know like how thick it's going to be. So actually, let me come back. I need to do that, and then I will come back. Because right now, if I was to make the closure, because what I want to do is use magnets and have it flip over and close here. But without papers in it, see how it's just not very thick. But it's going to grow as I add something in each one of these pockets, okay? So we'll come back. All right, we are back with our 14 pocket book, and I have placed the papers in every pocket, excuse me, and every slide out. Again, these are 3 3/4 by 5, and this was 3 1/4 by 11, and then I scored it in half at 5 1/2. All right, so in every page, every pocket has something in it. All right, and that is just so we can see how it starts to grow. All right, and I can, when I want to add more pictures or something, it's going to make it bulk up even more. So at this point, it's kind of a guessing game of how wide I want this flap to be. And I want to show you magnets. So, excuse me, I want to have a flap that comes from around the back and attaches to the front with the magnet. All right, welcome back, everybody. I just realized that the part of the video before this, where I was actually finishing this magnetic closure, my phone died like a minute into it. So all this important part and explaining of how I made this magnetic strap, I have to redo, but I don't have another book. So I'm going to make a magnetic closure for this one just to show you, just as an example. But obviously it's not going to need to be this big. So it'll just be like a one flip over. But I'm going to go through everything. So we need our magnets. Again, I'm using these these tiny little ones that I got from Amazon. If I can put that off. See, ooh, they will grab each other, which is good. So let me put these away. So for the strap, magnetic hinge or closure, whatever, I made this one 1 1/4 inch wide, 1 1/4 inch wide, just because I felt like that was going to be a good bit to grab. Like, you don't want it to be too skinny or too wide. You want it, the Goldilocks of straps. You want it just right. So 1 1/4, I'm going to go with the same thing here, just for giggles. Now I measured this part because I wanted it to hang over about 1.5 inches. And I did, both on that side. I mean, front and back, 1.5 inches. Now this part was 3/4 of an inch because I wanted to give this album just a little bit room to grow. So see, if I squeeze it all together, it can grow about that much. So I think and that was just guessing because this is not finished, as far as I only put cardstock inside it just to take up some space. So I don't have any pictures. I don't have any ephemera, any extras. So I wanted to leave it just a little bit of room. This one, I'm not going to bother with this side piece. I'm just going to make one that flips over just to show you how to attach it. All right, because actually, let me bring this back. So notice this is covered up. So, because I didn't want that showing. So let's do 1.5 inches. Let's do some math here. I mean, 1 1/4 inch wide, okay? And I said that other one was hanging over 1.5 inches, so we can do the same thing. So that means I would need a 3-inch long piece, because I'd want 1.5 inches here and 1.5 inches here. So 3 inches, all right? But we're going to times that by 2, because this is folded in half. This strap here is this piece folded in half, because you really want this folded edge to be the part that you're always grabbing onto. Because if this was just 2 pieces glued together, all this constant grabbing, no matter how much glue you put on here, it would definitely just separate and start to come up. So you want this to be folded. So we have an extra, it's just more sturdy. So we want a piece that is going to be 6 inches long by, so 1 1/4 by 6 inches long. Okay, so I'm going to bring in, I'm going to go with Highland Heather. So 1 1/4 by 6. Oh, whoopsie. I should have taped my paper down. So 1 1/4 by 6. All right. And it looks like I need to clean my trimmer. So if your cutter starts getting a little bit of hairy, hairy cuts like this, with the guillotine cutter, I should say, because that's what I have. That usually means I've got glue or something on it, and I just need to clean it with some alcohol. All right, our 6-inch piece. I want to fold this in half, so we're going to score it at 3 inches first. All right, 3 inches. Oh, and I'm going to need a little scrap of that Highland Heather. Oh. Okay, so 3 inches. Here we go. Score this. So I want this folded edge to be on the front. Okay, that'll be like right here. Now before I glue this together, because you really want it to be glued down nice and completely, like no extras, I want to put my magnet in first, all right? Because I want that hidden. So I like to put a little strip of tear and tape or sticky strip or score tape, whatever you want. All right, so let's put this down and let's put it right about there. All right, now we can put more tape on it, or we can just go ahead and glue. Because the tape there is just to hold it down in place. But now I want to be very generous with the glue right on top of the magnet. It's okay. All right, and now we'll squeeze this shut. And if it comes out the sides, just wipe that up. And I do want to let this sit for a minute because, I mean, it does take a few minutes to dry. Let me get all around this magnet because we're going to need to score this. Okay. So we're done with this for now. Let me go ahead and cut this piece. So back to our original, this little piece of Night of Navy is the same size as that because the magnet, the second magnet is under here. I just didn't want it showing on the book cover, like when I flip it up, plus adding extra tape and glue, that's gonna help everything keep in place. So you wanna hide your magnets really, but I want a piece the same size. So this would be 1.5 by 1 1/4. All right, so while that is drying some more, let me trim this down, 1.5 by 1 1/4. It should already be 1 1/4. Yep, so 1.5. And actually, I'm gonna back it maybe a 1/16 of an inch less because I want it to go right up to the edge of my book, but I don't want it to interfere with the closing part. All right, so this is gonna get glued right here, but we don't know where it's going yet, okay? We have to start with this piece. So magnet is here, that's our folded edge. So I wanna bring my scoring blade or my scoring tool back, and I'm gonna score it in half at 3 inches. No, at 1.5 inches. All right, so I'm going through 2 layers here and all this glue. So score, 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 then flip it over the other way. And again on 1.5 inch, score, score, score. All right. And then we're gonna bend this. And I just wanna be gentle. I don't want everything to rip or crack, but this has a lot of glue in it, so I think it's gonna be fine. All right, so let's start by, we want this to go on the side like this. So I'm not gluing this, that has a magnet. I just hold it in place, flip it over. I wanna glue all this, okay? Well, I should say all this until I get to about here because I don't want it to glue on itself. So right there. All right, so folding this over, and I'm just gonna press it with my entire hand, and I'm gonna sit here for at least a minute, maybe longer, and holding this in place. And I'm going to fast forward through this. Okay, that is gonna hold. All right, now we wanna put our second magnet on. So the easiest way, when we want them to line up perfectly, is take this one and just let it get sucked onto this one, okay? Just let it fly. Now we want to add a little bit of that score tape to the magnet itself. And this is just a teeny bit just to hold it in place. Okay, peel this up. So it's just to hold it on here when I press it, okay? So I'm gonna press really hard and then pull it up. See? Nice. Now, I want that to really be adhered down, so I'm gonna add another little bit of the score tape right over top of it. Peel that up. Now we're gonna take this bit and I wanna put it here to cover it, all right? So I want to go, make sure, I might have to trim this some more. So I'm trying to get this to go right on the edge. And see when that flips over, that's going to, see this little bit hanging out? So, ooh. All right, I'm gonna trim just a little off. That looks good. Okay, now let's take our glue. This time I want to put glue all over this Highland Heather. And then I'm going to go over the magnet again and around it a little bit. Just because I don't want it to come up. And actually this could use a little bit more. All these corners. Okay. So I'm lining the top and bottom up with this. And I'm going to go as far out to the very edge. Okay. And then again, I'm going to press this whole thing down for a minute, and then I will come back. That should do it. Now this should flip, and it catches. Nice. So that's the general idea of how you add a magnetic closure. Ideally, I would want the back of this covered up, but because this book, this style book that I was making was made just with a piece of designer series paper, I couldn't actually cover it up. If I had made this with cardstock, then I could add another layer over here and cover it up. But I don't mind it. It is what it is, you know. I like the magnetic closure, especially for a book this size, you know, where I've got a 3/4 inch spine on that side. Nice. So I hope you got something useful out of this all these books that we made. Now remember, the original, this was made out of one sheet of 12 by 12, and it has 5 pockets. Then I made earlier, this was made out of 3 sheets of 6 by 12, and it has 8 pockets and a spine cover. And then the last one was made out of 5 sheets of 6 by 12, and it has 14 pockets. And then we did the different spine and the magnetic closure, which I love. All right, and then this was just our little prototype. Again, this was made out of 1 sheet, just to show you and then the magnet. Okay, I feel like I'm jibber-jabbering enough. I'm going to put this all together and post it. And if you have any questions, leave me a comment. You can email me, ToniStamps@yahoo.com. But I like the questions in comments because then everybody can see them and then they can see my answer. And so it helps because you guys may have the same questions, you know? All right, thanks, you guys. See you soon. Bye.